Well, thanks so much for coming. This is
Thanks
exciting.
for having me.
Why don't we just start by you telling me a little bit about yourself?
Oh, okay. Well, my name's Sally.
Hi,
Galman.
Sally.
And I'm coming here from the University of Massachusetts at Amherst, where I am coordinator of child and family studies within the Department of Teacher Education and Curriculum Studies, where we do teacher ed and mathematics, literacy, sciences, those kinds of things. And before I was at UMass, I was at the University of Colorado, where I finished my doctorate there. And I've had kind of an interesting ride. I'm an artist, visual artist. I draw. I'm the author of the Shane series. And I started out as a cartoonist before I even became a teacher. And when I got to the academic place, I kind of circled back around and started using drawing as a way to teach. So it's kind of a circuitous journey.
Sure.
I'm the editor-in-chief of Anthropology of Education Quarterly, and I encourage anyone and everyone to send us their manuscripts as a shameless plug. We also publish arts-based work in our journal. A lot of people don't know that. I encourage anyone to send us their fiction, their art. We'll soon have a blog where we can post a live theater, spoken word, things that are difficult to reproduce in print. Because we're trying to really throw a spanner in the works of academic publishing as we know it.
Okay.
So that's kind of a start
That's
to who
great.
I am.
So do you identify yourself as an educational anthropologist or as a research methodologist or something else?
Oh, I wear a lot of hats.
Okay.
And I'm a little bit of an opportunivore in the sense that I've
I
always...
love that word.
I know. I've always, I've got a lot of interests in a lot of different things. And I think, I don't want to say sort of post-paradigmatic, but I am interested in lots of different hats. Okay. I consider myself, if I had to identify myself, my sort of 3x5 card, my elevator speech, is that I'm an anthropologist of childhood.
Okay.
And I work primarily in educational context. Education is is the field in which I apply myself. I didn't start out in childhood, though. I started out in a very different place.
Okay, so where'd you start?
I started out looking at sort of ed foundations, and I got into anthropology from there because I worked with Margaret LeCompte and Margaret Eisenhart, both at Colorado. And just because I ended up in the Council for Anthropology of Education, and that's sort of that's like the gateway drug for a lot of us.
Exactly.
So I started there, and then when I got to Massachusetts, I was hired under to do teacher education and evaluation, which was not really who I was, but that was the name they gave my job. And very quickly after that, I found my way into child and family studies, where I worked with Kevin Nugent and Claire Hamilton, and that's where I started really getting into childhood work, which was always something I kind of did. But I came to sort of a realization that that's really where the questions that I was asking and what really made my socks go up and down.
Sure.
That's where it was located.
Okay.
Methodology has always been an interest to me because that's what I always end up teaching. And I think that shoring up people's confidence in qualitative work, shoring up people's confidence in the power of ethnography as a tool, and also encouraging people to do arts-based work. I think that Melissa Conman-Taylor has always been a hero of mine. She's at Georgia, and she's always encouraged me, and I'm always trying to encourage others, especially junior people, to push the envelope a little bit and do things differently, because the rules are as we write them for what counts as inquiry. So that's how I ended up in that camp, and then I teach absolutely everything. So
Okay.
there we go.
It's interesting that you got to childhood studies or anthropology of childhood, because I can vividly remember as a graduate student saying that I wanted to study kids, and an anthropologist said, "Why would you do that?"
Why would you do? Yeah.
Because they're not socialized, they're incomplete versions of culture. What allowed you to see the possibility for that?
Well, I think that it's a little bit of my personality at work in the sense, I was told I would never complete a doctorate. I was told I was a doer, not a thinker. And I said, oh, really? So of course I had to go do it, and I was told not to study children because it would be too hard. Yeah. Because you would never get through the IRB, because and why would you do it anyway? And the whole status game. Like I read, I think it was Harry Judge on schools of education, right? The lower you go, the lower your status is, and I thought I was going to go, I was pretty low looking at teacher ed, but I was going to go lower.
I'm an early childhood, and that really is the lowest.
That is the lowest rung of the totem pole, right? And I left elementary, which was high status compared to where I am now, looking at infants and toddlers. And I decided that I had had enough with that, and I was tired of listening to people make extrapolations based on the reflections of adults Something I'll talk about in my paper later is that children are treated as containers for future economic productivity. And I found that offensive. And so I decided I'm going to go to the horse's mouth, and we're going to see what these children say and do. And there's a wonderful line from Allison James and Alan Prout where they talk about the tribes of childhood. Yeah. And I love that. I think that it all came into very sharp focus for me when I became a parent. I have 3 daughters. And when they began formal schooling in preschool, and I saw the convergence of everything I knew and believed and asked and wanted to know about the lives of teachers, especially as women doing what we consider care work, right? Donna Folbury or Diane Folbury stuff. And then the experience of the child in school and the experience of an institutional life, right, which is increasingly total. And so that's where sort of I caught on fire, and that's what it was.